Good morning, everyone. So we are getting ready to begin. I know it's raining in some areas. The courtesy to those who are running a little late. All right. Just some quick housekeeping. If you turn to the back of the program, there are two QR codes. One is a link to are also joining us online. And at the appropriate time, we will highlight those who are with us in the virtual space. Also, in your booklet or press kit, if you prefer, there is a, a, a guide as to the new measures on the 25 prohibited list. That's the water prohibited list. The list takes effect on the 1st of January, and we thought it important to share with you some of the new things, yes, that have been added to the 25 list. So you can go through at your leisure and have the necessary conversation with your doctor because the terms are quite scientific. So you would need somebody with that mind and knowledge to help you understand some of the things. Think we're ready to start? Yes? So once again, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the 2024 Senior Athletes Anti-Doping Education Workshop. It is the 11th staging, and we're so happy that you have taken the time out of your schedule to be here with us, in particular, or in light of the weather, the system that's out. We really appreciate you taking the time to share with us on this here Saturday. We invite you to stand, please, for the playing of the national anthem.
Our national anthem represents the beauty, pride, strength. As we honor our culture and our history.
Thank you. You may be seated. May I now invite Mr. Jervis Nita, Sample Collection and Testing Manager here at JADCO, to come with prayer for us, please.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Father, we thank you, O God, for yet another day. We give you thanks, Lord, for bringing each and every one here safely. We thank you, Lord, that the weather allowed us to get here safely. And we pray, Lord, that as we share information with clubs and athletes and support personnel, that the information will be received warmly. And we pray, Lord, that this workshop will be well received. We ask you now, Lord, just to dwell with us. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Nito. So once again, welcome. Good to have you. I'm Siobhan Blair, Public Relations and Education Officer here at JADCO. And as I said in the opening, it is our 11th staging of the Senior Athletes Anti-Doping Education Workshop. And so it's good to see new faces, and it's good to see familiar faces. And we're so pleased, so happy that you are here with us this morning. At this time, I'll invite our Executive Director, Mrs. June Spence-Jarrett, to come and deliver her welcome and open remarks. Please make her welcome.
Morning, everyone. Dr. Olivia Rose, Opposition Spokesman on Sport and Creative Industries, athletes, coaches, and other support personnel, representatives from the federations and associations and professional groups, team members from JADCO, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 11th Annual Senior Athletes Anti-Doping Education Workshop. A special welcome to everyone attending this workshop for the first time. This seminar is held specifically for junior athletes, support personnel, and representatives from the various sporting federations and associations. Our focus this year is on empowering our athletes, and I trust you will leave here feeling empowered to do the right thing or continue on the right path. While Jamaica is not known to have a doping culture, Jamaica cannot drop the ball in ensuring our athletes are educated and tested in accordance with the standards stipulated by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA. It is imperative that we maintain a level playing field. Our mission is to ensure we help to preserve the integrity of such a great sporting nation for decades. Certainly, the onus is not only on JADCO, but on all athletes and support personnel to make this a reality. We must work together. It was Henry Ford who proclaimed that if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. I must add that the Commission celebrated 16 years on July 25th. We had just concluded our 15th anniversary year-long celebration, which included several outreach activities such as our health and wellness fair and road shows. The events came as the Commission reinforces its efforts to educate the public about its role in keeping sport clean in Jamaica, as well as foster a dope-free environment in schools and build a stronger rapport with student athletes. We hosted our second roadshow on April 25th, this time making secondary schools in Manchester and Westmoreland the primary focus. The event took place at the Cecil Charlton Park in Mandeville and Independence Park in Savannah Lamar under the theme Protecting Brand Jamaica Through Clean Sport. The highlight of the roadshow was No Dope to Cope jingle and dance competition for student athletes of both parishes. Bishop Gibson High School for Girls was the winner for Manchester, and Petersfield High School the winner for Westmoreland, each taking home $30,000 and a gift basket. The Carteret College placed second for Manchester, and Belmont Academy placed second for Westmoreland, while the Manning School placed third. They were awarded $25,000 and $20,000 respectively, along with gift baskets. We held our first ever roadshow in August 2023 along the North Coast in the Ocho Town Center, St. Anne, and Sam Sharp Square, Montego Bay, St. James. That too was a success. We concluded our 15th anniversary celebration with our second Health and Wellness Fair on May 31st on the grounds of the Commission. The event, which will be held annually, saw a significant increase in the turnout, with over 200 patrons attending this time around. Attendees included students, teachers, coaches from several secondary schools in and outside the corporate area. Business persons and residents of the surrounding community also turned out in their numbers. While interacting with the people of various parishes, we realized some persons were unaware of JADCO. People need to know about the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission, our functions and responsibilities, and what we do. So we are taking JADCO to the people. And we recall walking through the streets of Savannah Lamar into the markets, and persons were so amazed to hear of JADCO. But we walked the streets from downtown up to the Mannings High School. In October, we again hosted our annual Junior Athletes Anti-Doping Education Workshop, for which the high point was our 2023 Dub Poetry Competition, which was launched last year. The competition was designed to increase awareness of the Commission's role in the fight against doping in sport within secondary schools, while enabling students to demonstrate their creativity around the clean sport and the message, no dope to cope. First, second, and third place were awarded $40,000, $30,000, and $25,000 respectively, along with a trophy. I can tell you the students did not come out to play. They did it with all their might. No doubt the Commission will continue to provide a platform for all young creative, allowing them to hone their skills, thus becoming empowered. I cannot end without mentioning one of JADCO's most important milestones, our imminent ISO 9000 certification. After much hard work and dedication, we are almost at the end of the road. I'm pleased to say that we have been recommended for certification pending one corrective action, which we are working assiduously to achieve in short order. We will be certified by the end of the year. Athletes and support personnel, thank you for prioritizing today's event. And I want to specifically welcome, and I have to start with the list, Dr. Olivia Rose, Opposition Spokesman in Sports and Creative Industries. I think this is her second visit to us. Never miss an event to be with JADCO. Madam, welcome and thank you so very much. And we have other agencies, associations and federations, which I most welcome personally. And we have National Power Lifting Association. We have the Racers Track Club. And I mentioned my Antonia and Chad. All of those are here with us today. We have the Jamaica Taekwondo Academy. We have the Herbert Morrison Technical Journey from St. James, Montego Bay. We have JABFA. We have the Jamaica Boxing Association, always with us, Mr. Brown. The Michael University, Jamaica Rugby Federation Union, Jamaica Dart Association, and remember spending almost a whole weekend with Damian and the group. We have MVP. I haven't seen MVP group for a long time. Welcome. The Jamaica Softball Association, West Indies Players Association, University of the West Indies, J. Trays, and we have Miss Jones from the Olympic Club. Club Olympic. And I must just say to you all, welcome to this event. And I hope today you will learn something different and take back something from these sessions. We welcome you heartily at this course of the end of the presentation. And I wish to acknowledge all of you and your professional groups. I hope this seminar will greatly impact your journey of becoming your best self in the sporting arena. Remember, protecting the integrity of sport is our responsibility. And we are often proud that as we send out our athletes to the Olympics, we never had one adverse analytical finding. So we are very proud of our athletes from Jamaica. And you clap yourself, no man? And just to remind you that protecting the integrity of sport is, again, our responsibility. And I close with a quote from Jason Williams, who posits, "We play fair and we play hard. If we win the game, we win. If we lose the game, we lose. Let this be your mantra. Let this be your way of proceeding." Thank you, athletes, athlete support personnel, coaches, association members, and federation. Thank you for coming, and may God continue to bless you as we continue to work together. Thank you.
Thank you too, Mrs. Judd. Please put your hands together for her once more. Great. So you would have heard some of the things that we have accomplished over the couple of months, and so we thought it necessary to share with you a quick highlight so that you can really see exactly what we do at JADCO. So let's have our JADCO and you feature at this time. Let's bring you up to speed.
The Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission presents JADCO and You, the highly anticipated Junior Athletes Anti-Doping Education Workshops were back with a bang on October 1, 2024, under the theme Empowering Our Athletes. The high point of Region 1's workshop was students displaying their creativity in JADCO's 2023-2024 Dub Poetry Competition. The competition is designed to increase awareness of the Commission's role in the fight against doping in sport within secondary schools and enable students to demonstrate their creativity around clean sport and the message, no dope to cope.
No dope to cope.
The winner for Region 1 was Guys Hill High School, taking home $40,000 and a trophy. Kingston High School placed second, and Denham Town High placed third. They were awarded $30,000 and $25,000 respectively, along with a trophy. Prior to the winning moment, principal of Guys Hill High School, Cecil Donald, endorsed the 11th annual initiative.
This workshop is more than just an educational session. It's a reminder that the choices you make today will shape not just your athletic careers, but your very lives. With JADCO's guidance, you have the opportunity to rise as true champions, not only in your sport, but also in your character.
Costas Rotolorum for St. Andrew, the Honorable Ian Forbes also commended JADCO while encouraging athletes to act responsibly.
As the first vice president of the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, J3As, I can proudly say that we are very happy with the role JADCO is playing, because through its operations, it has empowered our association, our sport, and by extension, our country. Athletes, I implore you to empower yourselves by ensuring that you are fully informed and armed with the necessary information provided by JADCO.
Director of Communication and Education at JADCO, Gillian Horton, while addressing the theme, reminded the students of what being an athlete embodies.
Remember, being an athlete is it's about more than just physical strength or skill. It's about resilience, it's about integrity, and the pursuit of excellence. At JADCO, we are here to empower you to reach your goals while upholding the values that define true sportsmanship.
Executive Director of JADCO, June Spence Jarrett, also encouraged athletes to always give each other a fair chance.
While Jamaica is not known to have a doping culture, Jamaica cannot drop the ball in spreading the anti-doping message and ensuring our athletes are tested. It is imperative that we maintain a level playing field.
The workshop, and in particular the dub poetry competition, was well received by a number of first-timers.
The songs were catchy and we get to learn some more about doping. So I think that stuff like that should happen more.
It was a good experience. I learned a lot. I got to understand a lot about what doping is and why we shouldn't do it.
For many student athletes and teachers, Region 2's workshop held at the Tropic View Hotel in Mandeville was certainly one to write home about, with some words of encouragement in the midst.
Today's session was quite interesting and exciting, of course. We have always attended the workshops and we find it very educational. Don't give up. Not because you're fast enough, that doesn't mean that you need to cheat yourself. All you have to do is just push harder.
The winning team in the dub poetry competition could not contain their excitement.
I feel so excellent about winning this competition. I'm just so proud of my school. Our work really paid off today.
The Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission committed to the fight against doping in sport. To learn more about the fight against doping in sport, contact JADCO at 876-929-3500 or visit its office at Balata Multiplex, 1 Balata Avenue, Kingston 10. You may also log on to its website, jadco.gov.jm. Feel free to check out the Commission's Facebook, Instagram, and X pages. JADCO and You was brought to you by the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission.
Thank you. So that's JADCO and You, and for these and other programs, you can log on to our YouTube channel at JADCO Education. Empowering our athletes, as you've heard, that's the theme for this year's workshop. And I will now invite Mrs. Gillian Horn, the Director of Communication and Education at JADCO, to come with her presentation on empowering our athletes.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's welcome on behalf of Team JADCO. We want to welcome you. We know it's Saturday, busy schedules, but we're glad you're here. It's truly a privilege to stand before you today as we delve into a topic that, while serious, is also one of the most empowering aspects of our athletic journeys. Today we're here to talk about integrity, fairness, and the choice that each of you has to shape your career and your legacy in the most authentic way possible. The theme of today's workshop, Empowering Our Athletes, is not just a slogan. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that true empowerment doesn't come from shortcuts. It doesn't come from taking the easy road. But it comes from strength to push yourself beyond your limits with dedication, discipline, and a firm commitment to doing the right thing even when no one is looking. Now, I know we've all heard the tempting whispers. Just this one time, nobody will know. Everyone else is doing it. But let me tell you something. Success built on cheating is a hollow victory, and I'm sure some of you know that. It's like building a house on sand. The truth will always find its way to the surface, and when it does, what will remain is not your medals or records, but your reputation. And that's where we come to the role of the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission. At JADCO, we stand as your partner in clean sport. We believe in the power of sport to inspire, to uplift, and to unite. But we also know that for sport to truly elevate us, it must remain fair and clean. The mandate of JADCO is not to police or punish, but to protect and empower. We ensure that every athlete, every coach, every team member can compete in an environment where they know the playing field is level, where the difference between winning and losing is determined by pure talent, grit, and hard work. JADCO's mission is clear. We're committed to safeguarding the integrity of Jamaican sports by preventing doping, educating our athletes, and enforcing anti-doping rules. We do this through testing, awareness campaigns, and training. JADCO also supports athletes in making informed decisions, because when it comes down to it, knowledge is your strongest weapon. Now I want to take a moment to acknowledge the coaches and support staff in the room today. You are just as vital in this mission as the athletes themselves. You're the ones who build the foundation, who instill values, who teach your athletes to rise after every fall. And in this fight against doping, you two play a critical role. It's not just about telling an athlete what's wrong, but also about showing them what's right and how much greater it is to achieve success the honest way. When you choose to play by the rules, when you reject doping in any form, you don't just protect your own future. You protect the future of the sport itself. You protect the dreams of every young athlete who looks up to you. You ensure that future generations can run, jump, swim, and play with the same hope that you had when you first stepped onto the track or onto the field, or into the boxing ring, of course. And to the athletes in the room, you are the heartbeat of Jamaican sport. The world watches you, your every move, your every race, your every record. It doesn't just speak for you, it speaks for all of us. You represent the relentless spirit of Jamaica, the legacy of those who've come before you, and the dreams of those who will follow. And by staying clean, you honor that legacy. By staying clean, you prove that greatness is achieved the right way. Here's a thought for you to mull over. Doping may give you an edge, but only for a moment. True greatness is earned in the long run through perseverance, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to doing things the right way. Empower yourselves. Choose integrity, choose fairness, and choose to be a champion not just of sport, but of life. I look forward to engaging with all of you as we continue to empower one another and as we work together to build a future where clean sport is the only sport. Empowering our athletes is not just about ensuring they train, eat properly, are well rested, and stay away from drugs. We empower by also ensuring that attention is paid to their mental health and the pressure to perform. Remember, athletes represent the peak of human potential. But guess what? They're still people. Mental illness affects athletes, manifesting as stress, eating disorders, burnout, depression, anxiety. I invite you to watch a presentation produced by McMaster University in Canada. The presentation looks at how stigma surrounding mental illness in sports prevents athletes from seeking treatment and how a recent movement of elite athletes coming forward with their struggles has opened the gate for others. Additionally, it examines two mental health struggles that uniquely impact athletes: performance anxiety and loss of identity, and the facts that contribute to these struggles. We have the presentation.
Athletes represent the peak of human potential. They can reflect our hopes and dreams, but they can also reflect our failures and shortcomings. Mental illness affects 35% of elite athletes, which may manifest as stress, eating disorders, burnout, or depression and anxiety. Some risk factors that are heightened in this population are heavy training demands, pressure to perform well, inadequate sleep from intensive training, and stigma related to mental illness in sports. Statistics show that elite female athletes are more likely to be diagnosed with a psychological problem than men, and appear more susceptible to difficulties encountered in their environment than their male counterparts. Female athletes were also 56% more likely than males to have suffered from an anxiety disorder over their lifetime. The stigma attached to mental illness is predominant in the athletic world due to emphasis on appearing physically and mentally fit, and the belief that mental illness is a sign of weakness. Stigma is the main reason why many athletes with mental health conditions don't seek the help they need. Many athletes fear that disclosing mental health symptoms or disorders could reduce chances of maintaining or signing professional team contracts or major advertising campaigns. Two conditions identified as uniquely impacting athletes are performance anxiety and identity loss. Performance anxiety is one of the most common mental health disorders athletes experience. Moderate levels of anxiety can be beneficial and can improve performance. However, high levels of anxiety can be detrimental to the body and can lead to poor performance. Performance anxiety is an unpleasant psychological state in reaction to perceived stress concerning the performance of a task under pressure. There are two subcomponents of performance anxiety: cognitive and somatic. Cognitive anxiety is the mental component of anxiety, which consists of negative expectations of oneself and success, such as images of failure and negative self-talk. On the other hand, somatic anxiety is the physical component, which consists of negative symptoms such as dry throat and high blood pressure. The physiological perspective of anxiety consists of physical symptoms that affect different parts of the body. The gastrointestinal effects lead to frequent urination, diarrhea, and upset stomach. The cardiovascular effects lead to increased heart rate and blood pressure. Muscular effects leading to twitching of muscles and tremors, which are uncontrolled shaking. And lastly, behavioral effects such as uncontrollable anger, problems communicating, and unkind behavior. The psychological perspective of anxiety includes psychological symptoms such as difficulty concentrating due to racing negative thoughts, difficulties in decision making, confusion, and trouble learning new information. Each sport has a different length of average career that athletes play. Swimmers start training and competing earlier on in their age and continue to compete until their early to mid-30s, whereas other sports, athletes have an average number of years they play. For instance, in the NFL, football athletes play an average of 3.5 years. In the NBA, basketball players play about 4.8 years. And in baseball players tend to play about 5.6 years. And in the NHL, hockey league players play an average of 5.5 years. Thus, each sport has a different length of career. Due to the shorter number of years athletes perform, they experience high levels of performance anxiety due to the fear of getting injured and failure. Many sports have higher risk of injury than others. For example, basketball is one of the sports that causes the most number of injuries. Overall, all of these factors can increase an athlete's anxiety and lead to detrimental effects. The other unique aspect that factors into athletes' mental health is their susceptibility to struggling with identity loss or identity crises. An individual's identity consists of multiple groups, such as student, friend, or family member. Each identity has its own roles and behaviors that we as individuals adhere to, and performing these roles and behaviors further solidify our association with that identity. Athletes are particularly susceptible to unidimensional identity, meaning they exclusively identify as an athlete. This occurs due to intense physical and mental demands, and the necessity for elite athletes to spend majority of their time being solely dedicated to their sport. This effect is increased in individual sports and sports which the age of specialization is younger. In team sports, athletes face a unique struggle of separating their perception of themselves as an individual since their identity is so entwined with their team. When this unidimensional identity becomes a problem is when an individual faces instability of their role as an athlete, either due to pending retirement, injury, inability to improve, or other factors that may remove an athlete from their sport. Additionally, the demanding nature of high-performance sports increases the risk for emotional exhaustion and poor mental health. How much an athlete is influenced in their behavior and emotional reactions to their athletic identity is proportional to their strength of association with their athletic identity. So the stronger an individual identifies as an athlete, the more satisfaction they get from their successes, but also the more they are devastated by their failures. This also translates to how much they're affected by identity crises. So someone who solely identifies as an athlete will struggle more with an identity crisis when they stop playing sport than an individual who has other identities, such as being a family member or a friend.
But I have an anxiety disorder. When I had my panic attack and had my episode, I was out there on the floor.
Many athletes have come forward recently, opening up about mental illness and struggles, and utilize their platforms as a role model to spread awareness, decrease stigma, and empower people around the world to talk about mental health. Current research demonstrates that the three main preventative components to address the mental well-being of athletes include mental health literacy, individually focused development programs, and mental health screenings. Mental health literacy programs should be provided to athletes, coaches, support staff, and family to create a culture that values enhancing mental health and well-being. The educational training can be customized to address specific aspects of the sport, such as team versus individual sport, athlete-specific risk factors, how to seek help, and coping strategies to self-manage psychological distress. Individually focused development programs can assist athletes to identify personal goals and acquire the skills necessary to achieve them. This helps develop a parallel, non-athletic identity, skills to manage life sport balance, and to prepare them for the life outside of competitive sport. Mental health screening should be included alongside routine physical health checks by medical staff. Screening should provide feedback to athletes to help promote self-awareness, such as their mental state and triggers for symptoms. Critical times to screen would include following severe injury and during the transition into and out of sport.
I don't want to see any hands, but I'm sure many of you can relate to that and have experienced some of the things that she mentioned. But don't bother put up your hands. So, the presentation notes that being mentally ill doesn't mean being mentally weak. And it notes that it's important that we normalize athletes showing emotion and caring about their health and well-being. And we just have one little brata left. We have two short clips from Usain Bolt during a recent high-performance podcast. I don't know if you were able to see it. Actually, we're actually hoping to have him here today, but he's traveling. So we just look at those two quick clips. And with that, that's the end of my presentation. I'll just come back when we're done watching.
Athletes represent the peak of human potential. They can
I didn't understand the concept of being great, you know what I mean? Because I was young. When I started out, I was 15 when I won the World Juniors. I was really young, I was really talented. So I didn't have to work as hard. It was just talent, so I was winning and winning and winning. And I remember when I got to the professional level now, and I felt like it was just gonna be easy. And I got onto the stage and I would go to meets and I would lose. And I was like, this is strange, this is new, you know what I mean? So it was something that took me a while to understand. And then when I started working with Coach Mills, and he kind of sat me down and explained that, listen, everybody who's a professional has talent. So it's who works the hardest on their talent that will be the best. And that's when I kind of understood that you can't get to the top with just talent alone. You need work, you need sacrifice, you have to be dedicated. And it took me time, but I learned along the way and I got better over time.
And I'm interested in that mentality to do that, because I can imagine having had a linear path of being successful as a junior and going into it, that must have come as a bit of a dent to the ego.
Yeah, definitely. For me, because I was beating the seniors. When I was 17, I was beating the seniors in Jamaica. I was running faster than all the seniors in Jamaica. So I was feeling like the man. I was like, yeah, I'm the man. And it was just mainly talent. But when you traveling now and then we're on the track circuit with all the Americans and people from England, everywhere in the world, and then you find yourself in fourth position, it kind of dampens your ego a little bit, but it helped, because when you're this high and you kind of get cut down to a lower side, you kind of start asking yourself questions and trying to figure out what am I doing wrong or what I need to do. So for me, it took that and a lot of help from my coach to really get me on the right path and then slowly to the top.
You do come from a sport that has been blighted over the years by performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah. You had the handback, your 4x100 medal. What do you say to athletes that think those kind of shortcuts are the way to win?
I can never understand why, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't want to wait their time, I think, because I personally feel that, I got a talent. God gave me a God-given talent. And I think if you work on your talent and you're really dedicated and figure out how can I get better. And I think a lot of people didn't take the time out to figure out what did I do wrong or what can I do better, you know what I mean? To get to the level. And because that's what I did. Because I struggled throughout the years to get to where I'm at. But I figured it out. Like, oh, this is what I need to do. This is what's going to get me better. And I think a lot of times that a lot of athletes, the work is so hard because it's not easy. It's very intense, you know what I mean? And as I said, it's full of injuries at times. And some people just don't want to put the work in. So it's tough, and sometimes it's a mental area that really drives you to go, you know what, let me try this instead of doing the work.
Well, look, the fact that you did it, and you did it in the most remarkable way, and you did it clean, is something that young Usain Bolt would be very proud of.
Definitely.
Obviously, you didn't really get a chance to compete at the top level against MJ, and we actually had him on the podcast a few weeks ago. I asked him who would win, Michael Johnson in his prime or Usain Bolt in his prime. What do you think he said?
I'm sure he said him.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what do you say?
I'm sure. There's no way he's going to beat me. No way.
Ladies and gentlemen, that these videos remind you.
I remember one of the funniest videos. I remember in 2008. I don't remember who he was. I think it was BBC he was broadcasting with. And if you go on the net, you can find this video. And the reaction, they were asking him, oh, what do you think? Is he going to break the record? And he was like, no, I think his mechanics need some work, and he needs to work on this, and it take him 2 more years before he gets to the world record, maybe. And then in the same day, I broke the world record. So it was funny, and the reaction is good, and it was good. It's one of my best videos. I watch it every now and then.
Right, Usain, we've reached the moment in our interview where we run through some quick-fire questions.
Okay.
So what are the 3 non-negotiable behaviours, the 3 behaviours that you hold above all others?
All right, so that's the end of that. That these videos remind you that the true power of an athlete lies in the choice to compete with honor, and in knowing that when we make the choice, we don't just uplift ourselves, we uplift the entire sport and inspire the next generation to do the same. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here to talk about the journey as an athlete and mental health that comes with it. So I want to start off with a word and the definition of it, grit. The definition of grit, someone's ability to persevere through challenges to achieve a long-term goal. I use this word a lot now, looking back at where I started and where I'm now. And funny enough, one of my biggest dreams was going to the Olympics, and it started in 2008. And throughout those years, 2012 Olympics, 2016 Olympics, I never made those teams, but I kept trying until I qualified for the 2021 Olympics. And throughout that time, I've had a lot of challenges, and surprisingly, I beat all of them. It wasn't easy though. Thank you. It wasn't easy. Thankfully, throughout those years, I've had several teams around me and several coaches to help me through it. And it was a learning experience throughout all those years as well. And one of the things I've learned, especially for mental health, is speaking life into yourself. speaking positive about yourself, regardless of how bad you might have performed at a track meet or a competition. You speak life into yourself, you speak life into your teammates. All right? And another thing I've always repeated to myself is, it's like a mantra, is I can, I will, I must. Which means I can do it, I will do it, I must do it. Regardless of how impossible the dream is or the task. You have to believe that you can do it, you will do it. And in some cases, you must do it. Now, funny enough, my dream of going to the Olympics started at the inception of JADCO. And throughout my high school career, I didn't know much about drugs. My coaches just tell me, say, if you're sick, just drink some orange juice and sleep. They never really tell me to take no pill, just sleep it off. And once I started going to the JADCO seminars in 2009 in high school, I learned a lot more about what is out there in terms of banned substances, what you can take, and what you shouldn't take. And even as a senior athlete now, I'm still learning about some of the stuff that is prohibited. And I must say thank you to JADCO for updating us on the new prohibited list today, because I didn't know it updated already. So now I have to go back online and look at the list again to make sure everything I take is okay. And that leads me into our next thing, integrity. You have to be aware of what you're taking and know that you shouldn't be taking it if it's illegal. All right? And also, hold on, accountability. You have to be accountable for all your actions and what you put in your body. All right? It is something that the JADCO won't tell you what to take. They will just help you to make informed decisions on what to take. And it's one of the best help I've ever gotten throughout my athletic career when it comes to supplement use. And with that, I end my speech.
Give it up for Chad, everybody. Thank you. Chad sharing his experience and how JADCO has helped him in his career. It's always good for folks to come back and tell us how the program is benefiting them and how much of a support we are offering. So it's really, really nice. Chad said something about believing in yourself and pushing yourself. I'm sure it's hard as athletes, and you need that push and that perseverance and that drive to get up in the mornings, because I don't know how they get up and train every day, because I can't do it, but they do it. And they do it quite well, and so we are proud of our athletes. And so sessions like these are in keeping with our mandate, with helping and looking out for our future, and that's Brand Jamaica. We're going to be stepping in now into the doping control process. May I invite Mr. Jervis Nito, our sample collection and testing manager. He'll walk us through a very special presentation, and then I think he'll also do a demonstration for us this morning. Please make him welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Good afternoon again, everyone. And I am going to walk you through the doping control process. So as soon as it is up, we will proceed. All right. Just a minute, please. All right, so we start the presentation by asking, what is doping? Because that is a question a lot of persons would want to understand and know the definition of. And the definition for doping is, the World Anti-Doping Code defines doping as the occurrence of one or more of the anti-doping rule violation outlined in the code. It is, sorry. Okay, beautiful. Sorry about that, a little technical difficulties. It is more than simply using a prohibited substance or prohibited method. There are currently 11 anti-doping rule violations. And they are, number one, the presence of a prohibited substance or its metabolites or markers in an athlete's sample. The range of sanctions as stipulated by the World Anti-Doping Code for this violation is a reprimand or a period of ineligibility to a period of no ineligibility, meaning that you are reprimanded and you just get a warning. Or you can be sanctioned up to a maximum of 4 years. These violations are very serious, so please pay attention to them. They're also on our website. Feel free to visit our website and read the information there as well. Violation number 2, use or attempted use by an athlete of a prohibited substance or prohibited method. Range of sanction for this violation, as stipulated by WADA, is a reprimand and no period of ineligibility to a maximum of 4 years ineligibility from the sport. Violation number 3, and this is evading, refusing, or failing to submit to sample collection. And the range of sanction for this violation is, again, a reprimand and no period of ineligibility to a maximum of 4 years. Number 4, tampering or attempted tampering with the doping control process. The range of sanctions for this violation, as stipulated by WADA, again, a reprimand and no period of ineligibility to a maximum of 4 years. Sorry, okay, there we go. So, possession of a banned substance or method. And this, again, the range of sanction is a reprimand and no period of ineligibility to a maximum of 4 years. Distribution, trafficking, or attempted trafficking of prohibited or banned substance or methods. And the range of sanction is a minimum this time of 4 years ineligibility from the sport up to a lifetime ban. Administration or attempted administration of prohibited or banned substance or method. The range of sanctions stipulated by the code, again, a minimum of 4 years ineligibility from the sport up to a lifetime ban. Whereabouts failures, and this is 3 filing failures and or mistests within a 12-month period. And the range of sanctions for this violation is 1 to 2 years ineligibility from the sport. Complicity or attempted complicity. This means you're encouraging, assisting, aiding, abetting, conspiring, or covering up an anti-doping rule violation. The range of sanction, as stipulated by WADA, is a minimum of 2 years up to a lifetime ban. Prohibited association. The range of sanctions, as stipulated by WADA, is 1 to 2 years ineligibility from the sport. And Number 11, act by an athlete or person to discourage or retaliate against reporting to authorities. So if someone sees something, want to say something, and you either support personnel or an athlete yourself, discourages them from reporting doping to us, you could be found liable for this violation. And just if you could just go back a minute. And the minimum is 2 years up to a lifetime ban. So it's a very serious violation. If we should look on the screen, this is an example there, tampering or attempted tampering with the doping control process. So you know, as an athlete, many of you have been through the doping, the sample collection process already. You know, the chaperone or the doping control officer must see where the sample is coming from. And this is the reason why, because if we don't have a clear, unobstructed view, then an athlete could easily take urine from a bag that they carry into the doping control station to fill in that cup. So we must see where the urine is coming from. And this is someone hiding or evading. So you heard the JADCO bus or the van at your gate, and you jump the fence. Or return up to your competition, and you don't know we're coming to test. You won't know who we're coming to test. But once you see our doping control officers, you disappear. That is evading. Or if you could just go back for me, please. So also, this is possession of a banned substance or method. So that is what we spoke on earlier. You could be found in violation of a doping control rule once there. Continue, please. And distribution or trafficking. This is you giving an athlete a banned substance, knowingly or unknowingly, that is on the prohibited list. That is a rule violation as well. Administration, or using a banned substance. Again, it is an anti-doping rule violation. So, in sport, we have what we call a strict liability rule. And this speaks to inadvertent or unintentional doping. A strict liability exists in sports whereby athletes are responsible for any prohibited substance found in their body, regardless of whether they have taken the substance knowingly or unknowingly, or it has been administered to them without their knowledge. So whatever it is that comes out of your body, you are responsible for it. So we're now going to just take a look at the sample collection process, and this begins with the notification process. So once our chaperone or DCO will approach you, they will have their ID with them, and they'll have a letter of authority. And the first thing they'll do is to identify themselves as a chaperone and approach you, the athlete, read you your rights, explain to you that failure to submit to the sample collection process, you may be in violation. So they will identify themselves or herself. DC or chaperone will then notify you, and the athlete is required to show identification. And I realize at some events, the athletes may say, we're coming at an event, we don't walk with our IDs. But as required in the doping control process, you must show ID. And this, if you don't have your ID card, your bib number could also be used as a form of ID. Continue, please. In the case of minors, minors must be accompanied by a representative throughout the entire sample collection session. The representative shall not witness the passing of a urine sample unless requested by the minor. If the minor declines to have his own representative, this will be documented, the DCO will assign a representative to the athlete, and a minor is anyone under the age of 18. Continue. So now you're at the doping control station. The athlete follows the instructions of the DCO or chaperone, and the athlete washes his or her hands with water only. And this is to prevent any form of contamination. The athlete is required to remove the clothing from mid-torso to knee, and provide a sample in plain view of the DCO or chaperone. Athletes maintain control of their samples at all time. So we, the DCO, we will not touch that sample until it is sealed. That is the only time where we touch and check if it is leaking. But other than that, you, the athlete, you are in full control of your sample. And here is a visual example of what it takes place at the sample collection process. In the first image, you'll see a male athlete being chaperoned or witnessing by a male chaperone, seeing the sample being passed. Second is a female chaperone witnessing a female athlete passing her sample. The third, you'll see the minor passing his or her sample. You'll see the representative observing the chaperone who is watching the minor passing his or her sample. So the representative is not there to witness the passing of the sample, they're just there to observe the chaperone. The athlete must provide at least 90 mils of urine. Anything less will be considered a partial sample. And once you have provided the 90 mils of urine, then we will package the sample. And this entails the athletes will choose sample kits. You're provided with 3 kits, and if there is blood to be collected, there'll be 3 needles for you to choose whichever you feel comfortable with. Could you go back, please? Go back, please. Thank you. So once the athlete chooses the kit, it is important that you check to ensure that the numbers on the kit, that they match the numbers on the bottles that are in the kit, right? Ensure that both the numbers on the sample A and B bottles match the number on the kit. The athlete then pour urine in the B sample bottle first. And there's a line on the bottle that indicates where you ought to pour the sample to. And then the rest is poured into the sample A bottle. After sealing and placing both bottles in the bag, then the bottles are placed back into the kit. At this point, the DCO will check, as I explained, after it is sealed to ensure that there is no leakage. The DCO will then measure the specific gravity using a small amount of urine that will be held back in the collection vessel. The DCO will then complete the doping control form. The athlete will disclose any medication or supplements taken, and the athlete will then verify and sign the doping control form. The athlete's sample is sealed and sent to a WADA-accredited lab. Upon delivery, the lab will verify the sample codes, ensure that they match the A bottle and the B bottle. The A sample is analyzed, and the B sample is securely stored. The B sample may be used to confirm an adverse analytical finding or the presence of a prohibited substance from the A sample. So we would then receive the results. If the results are negative, meaning that there does not identify or indicate the presence of a prohibited substance or the use of a prohibited method, then that's where the process will end. But if there is an adverse analytical finding, meaning that it identifies or indicates the presence of a prohibited substance or the use of a prohibited method, then the process continues. And this now takes place as the result management process. JADCO, we will conduct an initial review to verify if there is a TUE in place. We'll get into what a TUE is further down. We'll also review the doping control forms to ensure that there was no departure from the standards. And if the initial review justifies the adverse analytical finding, the athlete will be notified in writing and advised of their rights to test their B sample. Remember, previously I stated that the A sample will be tested and the B sample will be stored securely. The B sample is tested as indicated if there is presence of a prohibited or banned substance. The athlete has the right to request that B sample to be tested. If the B sample analysis confirms the A sample analysis, JADCO proceeds with the results management process. The athlete has a right to a fair hearing. So the independent anti-doping disciplinary panel, we will then prepare those findings, and it will then move to the independent anti-doping disciplinary panel, and this panel is appointed by the government of Jamaica. Once a result it is, let me say, once the results process results in a sanction, the athlete has the right to make an appeal. You can appeal to, locally you can appeal to the Anti-Doping Appeals Tribunal, or if it's international athlete, Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS. So, we briefly touched on the TUE earlier, and we're just going to explain what it is. What is a TUE? Athlete may have an illness, a medical condition that requires the use of a particular medication. If this medication contains a banned substance, meaning that one that appears on the prohibited list, you may need to apply for a therapeutic use exemption. This gives you, the athlete, an exemption to take the medication while competing. So you, the athlete, will visit your doctor. Your doctor will assist you in filling out the application form, the TUE application form that can be found on our website. And you will submit it to us at JADCO. And I must advise that the process takes at least 30 days. So if you know that you have a competition coming up soon, it is important that you submit that TUE with enough time before the competition begins. All right. Yes, so once we receive that application, we'll then pass it on to the TUE committee. They will review, and then they will submit their finding to us, if it's approved or not, and we will notify you, the athlete. So, a therapeutic use exemption will be granted when the athlete would experience a significant impairment to health if the prohibited substance or prohibited method were to be withheld. Therapeutic use of the prohibited substance or prohibited method would produce no additional enhancement of performance other than that which might be anticipated with a return to form. There is no reasonable therapeutic alternative to be used of the otherwise prohibited substance. So there is nothing else you can take. This is the only thing you can use to get back to good health. So that is the time you will ensure that a TUE, you apply for a TUE. Continue, please. Who needs a therapeutic use exemption? Athletes in any of our 3 testing pools. And in our testing pools are the RTP, the registered testing pool, the lower testing pool, LTP, and our team testing pool. And if you fall in any of those pools and you have a genuine illness that you will need a TB for, then you can apply for it. Athletes taking part in a national or international competition, or athletes taking part in any event where there might be doping control. Continue. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. I hope that you learned something, and if you have any questions, there'll be a question and answer session shortly. Thank you very much. I now invite Mrs. Jarrett for the question and answer session.
You have heard both presentations from Mrs. Horton as well as Mr. Jervis. And we're now open for questions. But before I allow you to ask the questions, I just want to give you some updates. Many of you, I don't think many of you have visited our new office. We are not located. And I have somebody came one day and said they were coming to Jadco, and they ended up at our old office. And we have moved from that location for the past 4 years. We are now at 1 Balata Avenue, where we are para-athletes friendly. You know, when we were at South Odeon Avenue, where the old JBC office was, the para-athletes couldn't visit our office because we were upstairs, so we had to come downstairs to see them. Now we're at a very good location. We also have a doping control unit, and we go about testing, because when we came on, I realized that there were complaints from the associations and also from athletes that the conditions under which we were testing, was not so good. So we now have our doping control unit. For those who don't know, some of you are first-timers at this session today. And our unit is, it has a mechanism that you touch a lever, goes down, the wheelchair comes up, come to the level of our bus. It's a bus that we have retrofitted with bathroom facilities, cupboards, waiting area where the doping control officer sits, and the wheelchair would come right in, and they go straight into the bathroom. It's big enough to accommodate the wheelchair. And we go around with our unit, and we are very proud of it, in that we are 2 in the world, Japan and Jamaica. We have also our organization structure have been improved. We now have a senior legal officer on our establishment. We have a director of investigation. We have a full compliance unit, which a director of compliance, a senior monitoring and evaluation officer. We have a senior internal auditor. We have an auditor. We have a risk management analyst that most government offices don't have. And we have our data protection officer. We are registered in the Data Protection Act. We are now interviewing for occupational health and safety officer. We have a full procurement unit. We are heading towards ISO 9001 certification. We have gone through road shows where we take Jadco to the people. We have started our health and wellness fair. We have had 2, and it's now going to be an annual event. We are now trying to get anti-doping in the curriculum of primary and high schools. With the Ministry of Education, we have started that discussion. And we have now opened our offices. We have now opened a new section on the same complex where we will be housing our procurement unit and our compliance unit. We are advertising on billboards and JUTC buses and bus sheds. And if you notice that our quarterly magazine, we have now printed them, and they're available in pharmacies and associations and federations, and available to the athletes because we send it to you via MailChimp. So we are on the move. We are taking JADCO to the people. When 5 years ago, I came to JADCO 7 years ago, nearly 7 years ago, and where we are now, we were not 7 years ago. And I know Mr. Brown will agree with that. And so we are achieving our mandate of being the premier world-class association. And as you know, our president for WADA gave the stamp of approval to say we are the #1 in the Caribbean. So, if we have to big up ourselves, not true, Damian? We have to big up ourselves, and associations need to big up themselves also and take the message and support the theme that we don't need dope to cope. Good. We are open for questions. And I see, yes, I see your hand. Somebody's taking the mic for me.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Felipe Sanchez, boxing coach for the Olympic Garden Boxing Gym. I'm very happy to come to all of these meetings that we have, always very informative. And I'm very happy that we shed a lot of light on mental health, because something that is that is seen very commonly is mental health issues that are such as ADHD. So my question here is, for athletes that have been diagnosed with attention deficit disorders and they're usually given stimulants, how is this affected in the therapeutic use exemption?
All right. If, for example, we have, I don't know you're aware, because we're trying to get the ministry to be with us here, because we partner with them. They have an athletes insurance program. They have a whole program for the athletes at the ministry. But if, for example, an athlete has, as you say, ADHD, and they have to be treated with a legitimate drug, they apply for the TUE, because maybe one of the drugs that is prescribed might be one on our banned list. But if you have a TUE approval, then you can take that drug, and if it comes up of an AAF, then you will be exempted, because it is not for enhancing your performance, but because of illness. So yes, it can be accommodated through your TUE program.
Okay, thank you very much, because the issue is also that it's a stimulant. So although it helps the person's brain function better because of the condition, it is also a stimulant. So that is why I say...
Yes, TUE helps, because when you send in the application, it comes through to us, to your doctor, who knows what you need and the amount that you need. Because the amount must be stated, by the doctor, what you need to take. If you take over that dose, that means you're taking it for something else. So you have to stick to what the doctor prescribes for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr.
But
Hart.
it is accommodated. It's a group of doctors who are specialists in their areas, and they will assess it. It comes to us, we send it to them, and they assess it, gives the approval, and I will send a letter to you giving you the approval for the drug to be used. Any other questions? And I'm happy to see rugby here today, because rugby is part of the team testing pool. We have 3 groups in the team testing pool. It's football, netball, and rugby. So I'm happy to see the rugby team today. We have never seen them for a long time. So we have to get, yeah man, clap them and you clap yourself too. All right, yes, Damian.
Good day. Quick question. There was a mention that there are 2 samples.
Mr. Jervis, come up here.
There are 2
Yes.
samples, A and B. Now, what's the difference in the, processing each sample? Because I would figure that for the A sample, that is done in the lab, but if the person has a positive result, how is it treated?
All right, let me tell you. The athlete comes to the doping center. You have 2 bottles in the kit, right? You have to fill up both bottles. One bottle is a B sample. The other bottle is the A sample. We at JADCO not interested in your B sample, but we have to send it to the lab. The B sample is the one that comes first with less liquid. You pour in less liquid in that bottle. The A sample has more liquid in that bottle. Both are sealed and sent to the lab. We pay for the A sample to be tested and analyzed. It's analyzed and the result is sent to us. Now, if the A sample comes back with a positive, right, then we have to inform the athlete that your sample came back with a positive, which means that there's a prohibited substance in your sample. Now, you, the athlete, will say to us, we will write to you to inform you that this happens and give you the option to have your B sample tested. Now, the B sample, when it goes to the lab, is stored. We have it stored with the same number that is on the A sample. It is stored. So they will pull the B sample for the athlete on your request.
Okay.
But you must pay that amount of money of $400 to have that sample tested. And it is in the interest of the athlete to do that. If the sample, the B sample, comes back negative, all I am going to, because I do all communication, because I'm the executive director, I send back to tell you, you will go no further with it because your B sample say negative. But once both say negative, positive and positive, the result management kicks in.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Get it? So it is important. And the B sample is the one that you pour first into that bottle, and the remainder goes into the A sample bottle. Right? Well, one thing I tell you, we store your sample for 10 years. Meaning, because I'm just in the process of getting a new contract done, where we have a contract with the lab to have the sample stored for 10 years. So during that 10 years, somebody can pull your sample and say, I'm interested to get that sample tested again. And you might find that when your sample was tested first, it was a negative. And when it tested 10 years after, it is a positive. So it is stored. So, understand? Good. And we had that situation already in Jamaica. Good. So it is important. But I can tell you now, you should have no fear. Nobody can tamper with your sample. Because when you notice, I think we had done for some of the workshops that you have been, where we have actually done the total thing where you turn and turn and turn and turn, and you don't hear any more click and turn it upside down to see if anything can drain. Nobody can open that sample unless it's a machine. Nobody can open it to say, boy, Chad, send him sample, and Chad say, boy, is JADCO tamper with it? No, because we can't touch it. It goes to the lab. I have visited the lab, because if you are sending the athlete samples to a lab, you must know that the lab have all these capabilities, that there can be nothing that interferes with the athlete sample. I have seen it. And from it enters reception, where it is taken by the courier service there, I watched the process. They led it, the sample collection. It was the director of technical service, and I visited. And we watched from it reach reception until it goes for analyzing. Nobody can touch it at all. And when it goes to the lab, there's not a Chadwright name on it. It is 0010. The lab don't know who 0010. Only JADCO knows who 0010 is. and you don't reveal it. So nobody can say, boy, since a Chad right sample coming in, I'm going to give a result for positive. So athletes have no fear. And what I'll say to you that we usually have this heavy bottle. Glass heavy bottle. You know it, Chad? Antonio was here, but I think he left. We are now moving towards another lighter type of bottle. As soon as we get the new ones, we are going to introduce it to the athletes and let them understand. What is the same process? Can't tamper with it at all. They can't touch it. It is safe. And this is why we say to you, when you're going to do your sample, wash your hands with water. No soap, because you can say the soap is contaminated, so when you touch the bottle, something can pass on. No, clean water. So water, understand it? And this is why you only ask you to use clear, clean water. No soap. Yes, Damien, answer your question? Yes, it is. All right, boss. Any other question? Yes, I recognize your hand.
Yes, good morning.
Yes,
so
sir.
the question I wanted to ask was, so let's say you're a track and field athlete, right? And you get a lifetime ban. Is it possible that you can do a different sports after getting the ban? And also, if you get a 4-year ban, can you do a different sports in the meanwhile?
No, sir. Ban means ban for life, out of the sport. And this is why we say to you, be careful. Jadco said, we do not encourage supplement. Because you know what happened? Not everything is recorded on the label. There might be something on the label in the supplement that is not recorded on the label. So we don't encourage supplement. And if you are on a ban, you must not train or participate in any sport. See, after we send it to you to inform you and notify you that there's a positive substance, a prohibited substance in your urine, and we inform you, I will suspend you. And when you're in the letter says that I have suspended you from sporting, you cannot be seen training or participating in any sport until the matter has been resolved with the IADP, Independent Anti-Doping Disciplinary Panel, which has nothing to do with JADCO. It is an independent body independent of JADCO, appointed by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. We have nothing to do with it. All we do is to present our cases to them. Yes. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. So my question is, it is a part of the anti-doping rule. Hypothetically speaking, let's say the anti-doping team went to a training for a particular athlete. First time the athlete isn't there, you went the second time, the athlete still isn't there. How many time would you go for the athlete if the athlete is not there? 3 attempts, for how many?
And that's not really go. Let me tell you. Every athlete in our pool, I don't want to be restricted over there, right? Every athlete in our pool, especially the ones called the registered testing pool, that some of you find yourself in, Job for People, athletes, powerlifting, you name it. They have a time slot, which is a 1-hour time slot. And they state in their time slot, which is recorded on Adams, that I will be at such a location during such a time. For example, they will say, Chad will say, I will be at home between 5 and 6 a.m. on the day, all right? We are going to send out the team to come during that time slot. That is your window. Huh? So we try to fit into that time. If when we go there, Chad is not there, yet him whereabouts saying that he is there, he's supposed to be at home, that is recorded as a mistest. So, and if you have, it's not only the substance that is found in your urine or your blood, you can also be taken before the panel for an anti-doping rule violation. Because if you have 3 of those mistests or a combination of filing failure for a 1 year period, we can take you before the panel. Understand? Clear to you? So if you, as you said, you say you're in a training center and we go there for you're not there. We're going to stay there 1 hour, you know. Because the regulations state the chaperone and the DCO must be there for the hour. And we don't find you, we're going to write to you to say, we visit you. Your recording said that you should be at X point. We went to X point. You were not at X point. State the reason why. And when you state the reason, if it is not justified, we have a reviewing panel, and the panel says it's not justified, I am going to be writing to you to say, 1 mistest is going to be recorded against you. And if you have 3 for the year, I take you before the panel. So it's important for you to record where you are during that time slot. And we're not hard, you know, we write to you and give you the chance to state the reasons. Clear? Good. Any other question? I see a hand on the bottom. All right, Mr. Boyaji, we soon get you to ask the question. Yes, West Indies players? Yes.
Good afternoon. Right. So for the cricketers, regarding the jurisdiction for those around the Caribbean, because most of my players don't know what testing is. They've never been tested. The last match that was played at Sabina Park, I think it was Trinidad, some of the players were tested. They didn't have a clue what to do, where to be. So regarding regional testing, can you explain or elaborate who does that? Should they be tested? Because when they get here, I know they're under your jurisdiction.
All right. Like, for example, the reggae boy, I'm going to talk about you, and then I'm going to talk about the reggae boys. Reggae boys and the footballers is in our team testing pool. I don't tell any one of you when I am sending a team out there to test you. And you can't stop it either. What we do is that we test you when you hit our shores. We are going to test you. Now, when you are overseas, there's another group that tests you at matches. We test you when you're at your training sites. Or, if we feel like, we'll go to the hotel where you are. Now, for the cricketers, they are all over the globe, but we know when to hit the spot. Because you must also register in the 1 hour time slot. So wherever you are, if you are X place, we have a team called IDTM that we use and we pay them to test athletes, cricketers, wherever they are over the world. It costs us a lot of money, but we have to do that. WADA's regulation states, when you are in the testing pool, especially the registered testing pool, you must be tested at least 3 times for the year. At least, it can be more. So when athletes complaining, JADCO coming to test him, JADCO coming to test him, we are in our rights. We can test you anytime, any amount of time. But WADA says at least 3 times for the registered testing pool. And for the low testing pool, which is the budding athletes, we test you at least once for the year, but we test you more according to information that we might receive. Okay?
Yeah, but for clarity, I was speaking specifically to those who are not in the testing pool. So example again, when the trainees came here last year, when you guys were at Savannah.
The Trinis came here,
Right.
and Caribbean Rado contracted us to test you because Caribbean Rado cannot come here to test the cricketers when Jamaica Anti-Doping is the national NADO for Jamaica. They can't come here to test any of the athletes. They have to contract us to test you. And we did that. And some of your athletes are in our testing pool, and we have been testing them. And you know that too. Good. We don't miss up, you know. Because we have, you know, there's a regulation from AIU now, and I want the federations to hear this. Now, there's a regulation from AIU now that states, Rule 15 of the AIU regulation states that all athletes entering international games like the Olympics must be tested at least 3 times out of competition prior to entering the games. And we have been doing that. You know that? Last year, one night, we never slept, you know. I went to work 7 o'clock the Monday morning. And you know when I go back into my bed? 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. Wednesday. So all through the night, we were out testing because we had to meet the regulation because we have to protect brand Jamaica. And when our president look at Jamaica and say we are the #1 in the Caribbean, we have to maintain that name. That's all. And that's why when all of the athletes go up to Olympics, you see any of them test positive, we're proud of them. So you should have a clap on yourself. Not sure. Must be proud of them. All right. Yes. Yes, go ahead. And then I see your hand. Is what? Anthony? Yes.
Hello. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Just a curious question. So for instance, an athlete is finished competing and he's been called for testing after a competition or whatever. And during the process of being testing, the athlete has a serious emergency. How does JADCO go about that?
Once we notify the athlete, wherever you go, the chaperone have to go with you. So you have an emergency, they're going to follow you there. And we're going to wait until your emergency finish and we test you. Simple. Simple. I don't know if you remember that case with, it was the athlete there, what's his name again? When he went to the airport and a whole lot of mix-up. That couldn't happen with Jamaica, you know. Because once we notify you, we have to carry out Christopher Taylor, right? Once we notify you, we have to go. You know, I remember once there was a famous cricketer who, when we went to test him, he said, all right, I have a lawyer's appointment. And they called me, and I said, all right, go with him. And I went in the car with him, and him driving at some corners and some dolly around the place, man. Boop. And the athletes and the chaperone sat with him. He never have no lawyer's appointment. But him just wanted to not to do it. And we went with him, and he goes back to his house. And we do the test. Once we notify you, we cannot abort the test. Clear? Yes, sir. Miss what, miss? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, Manager, I asked a question. If an international cricketer get banned, suspended for 4 or 5 years, and he decided to keep himself sharp by arranging a couple curveball games with his friend and more fellow international players, would they be in trouble to play with him?
Go again.
If a cricketer get banned,
A cricketer
cricketer get banned or suspended,
yes.
for 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for him keeping himself competitive and sharp, he just arranged some choreographed games amongst his friends, them who are fellow international players.
About his friends who are fellow international players.
Playing with him. Would they be in trouble?
Come answer that because you gave the presentation. Because I don't think him hear you.
I wouldn't hear, but I said that.
Yes, they will be in trouble because they are associates.
Give him the charge now.
All right, so that's sorry. You are associated with someone who is banned, and that carries a violation of 2 to 4 years, I believe.
Even if it's not a regulated game, just pick up game.
You are an international athlete, so you can't be associated with someone who is banned, even if it's just a little cricket game, as you say. Yeah.
Can't train.
Which means, in other words, which means I'm a softball player, international player, got banned, but there's a major league competition, and I'm a member of a club. Can't play.
Can't play. The person has to be out.
Softball is done for me for the rest of my life.
For the period that you are banned. Listen,
say I'm banned for life.
If the ban says 2 years, you're out for 2 years. If it says 4 years, you're out for 4 years. And you have to abide by the sanction that is handed down by the IADP, right? If the sanction says lifetime, lifetime means what? You can't participate again and again and again. No, but if you go before the panel and you're given a sanction, you have the opportunity. You say you're not satisfied, take it before CAS, which is the Court of Arbitration in Sport that is in Switzerland. You have the opportunity to do that. When you go before that court, sometimes they might lower the sanction or they might up the sanction. We don't know. But what happens that WADA has a keen eye. Anytime there is a sanction that is handed out, WADA has to be informed of the sanction. Right? And if they go before the Court of Arbitration, they try your luck. But it stays for a long time, 2 to 3 years, sometimes 1 year, depends on the arbitrator. And we, JADCO, have to pay, and the athletes have to pay their part. If the athlete wins, you hear people say, that means it is squashed. We at JADCO have to pay all the expenses. So we make sure that our lawyer must be on top, because I can't pay that whole heap of 960,000 Swiss francs or 3,000 Swiss francs. It's a lot of money. And so we try to put our case together. But you have the opportunity to take it elsewhere if you are not satisfied with what the panel out here has done.
Mr. Jack, before you move on, and play that game, man. Suppose you play with people who are retired, not playing professionally, and you just pick up games with them. Would you still?
If you're retired from the sport, you retire.
So the person who gets banned can play the retired people then?
Don't put words in my mouth because I'm not going to answer that.
No,
you think you can trap me?
No, I just said.
Damien, tell him saying you can't trap me, no man.
No, what I said, if the person is retired.
You hear him can tell me no, so Mr. George said, if you're retired, you can't speak. I refuse to answer that question.
I just saying, if the person who are playing with me are retired.
You are playing the devil's advocate on me. Eh?
All right, it's right. All right, yeah, that's
Just a comment, though, Mrs. Kajai.
Anthony, tell him say enough to do that, no man.
Just a comment, though, that those of us here need to take this very seriously and to pass it on to our fellow coaches, athletes, because some persons are coach players. And if you're banned, then it means that your career is over. You can't really go back to coaching until the ban. I understand, until the ban, for the period of the ban. So your income stream is dead. So we ought to pay attention and take this very, very seriously.
Exactly. And you don't need dope to cope. My God, you don't need it. You don't need dope to cope. I told somebody the other day, the last time I had flu was when I was 15 years of age. I don't know how a common cold feels. And I don't take supplement, but I eat well. You must understand that. Yes, Chad.
All right, so this question is specifically for him.
No, it's not for him. We'll decide who answers. You come.
All right. So, say for example, a bodybuilder gets banned. Is he banned from working out in general?
Him can work out by himself. Going in gym. So you want to trap him? No, you trap me. Come, Chad. A bodybuilder, get him 4-year ban. And he won't go to him gym. And him go and work out. Go by yourself. Go work out by yourself. But if you carry Sean, bid you and Sean, no, me tell Sean say. Because when you are banned, it is on my website. The association is informed and everything. And Sean go find himself with you down there. Then Sean knows say him going before the panel for that.
All right, so what if Sean is already there training? Nobody knows Sean was actually there.
Sean knows when Sean see him there now, Sean must slip out because Sean must know the bodybuilder because he is a bodybuilder too. You think you can, that's why you want Mr. Jarvis to trap him? No, man. Trap me. Come, Sean. Sean is going to know because Sean is a job for man. And Sean will hear Mr. Frankson. I know Mr. Frankson would say, this man is not with us anymore, you know. And this man not supposed to be there. And Sean will go here. So if Sean go where you are, Chad, and find yourself in that, a Sean is... Not true, Mr. Brown? All right. You're gone, man. You're gone. So just avoid it. Because, listen, when you lose, when you are found with a AAF, and you lose a lot, you know, because your career goes, your earning goes. Your friends don't want to associate with you because they know is something going to come up. So please, stay away from it. You don't need it. Stay away from it. Your reputation is gone. Even your sponsors. I think there is the principles, I think Chevron. Anytime you want a workshop, just call us. We are ready. We were with that association for 2 days. We overnight. You ask for us to be on a Sunday, via Zoom or wherever, we are there. And on Saturday, we are there. We're facilitating the athletes. So stay away from these things. It's a plea to all of you. Stay away from it. You're not sure, and you might say, somebody gave you. There's a strict liability principle that says, whatever enters the body, you are responsible. Yes. And there's a hand over there, yes.
All right, so it's related to chat question. What if both the athletes are married and one of them is banned? Like, how can the other partner protect themselves?
You have to decide what you have to do with that. I can't tell you to go leave your husband. Maybe one of you retire and stay home together. But I can't tell you what to do. I can't say go leave the husband and because you can be charged. You can retire. And when you retire, you can pick up the sport later down, but you have to inform JADCO 6 months prior to coming out of retirement.
Oh, okay, great.
Answer you, mom? Loud and clear. Mr. Brown, I can't tell him to leave the husband, is that? And we will be offering, situations where you're unbanned. We can offer counseling and whatever. Just ask us and we will be prepared to help the athlete work through. Yes, any other questions for us?
I think that's it. No, they asked a question. Yeah, so he's fine.
And it seems to be having a good time, eh?
See, Mayor?
Yes. Did you have a good time today? And you see, we brought you little goodies. And I know you always enjoy the little token. And we try to improve it all the time. And I'm just saying to you, keep in touch with Jadco. We're here. Just shoot us an email. I have a number that is available to everyone. 314-0941. Call me anytime, anytime. I will be here to answer your queries. Have a good one. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you again and again. Stay safe. God bless you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jarrett. I'm sure you thoroughly enjoyed that, and your questions and feedback, they certainly mean a lot to us. Just a quick reminder, turn to the back of your program. There are 2 QR codes. I'm asking you kindly to scan, and one is the feedback form and the other is the link to our Instagram page. We'd really appreciate a follow, as we do try our best to keep our socials active. So we ask that you follow. Big thanks again to the folks who have joined us online. This event is hybrid, and we could not have done it without you all. The conversation is quite necessary, and we appreciate this kind of dialogue. We're gonna be serving lunch right now. Is somebody saying yes? So we're gonna be serving lunch right now, and then during lunch, I think we have a very special presentation, and we're quite happy, delighted that a doctor decided to be a part of the workshop today. So we'll have lunch, and during lunch, we'll take that presentation. I won't keep you hungry, okay?
So as Siobhan mentioned, we have a special presentation. It wasn't on the program because we weren't sure it was going to happen, but we are most appreciative. The thing is that the Sports Medicine Association is having a meeting, and he was there, and he slipped out to come and join us. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who he is. His name is Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton. Anybody know that name? Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton. He's a licensed clinical and sports psychologist and the founder and CEO of Elite Sports Psychology. And he has made history as being the first Jamaican PhD to receive a diploma in the treatment of mental health in elite athletes from the International Olympic Committee. Big things that, I want to clap, Seriously, big things that. So at the recent graduation term, newly minted, just get it. So at the graduation ceremony, Dr. Hamilton was among his peers, comprising only 42% of who completed the program successfully. And now there are 66 graduates from 34 countries, and little Jamaica is part of that. So the program caters to sports medicine physicians and other healthcare professionals working with athletes and licensed practitioners qualified to offer mental health services. And these include clinical psychiatrists or clinical psychologists, sports psychologists, clinical social workers. And upon certification, the clinicians are equipped to address mental health symptoms and disorders in elite sports comprehensively, recognize major stressors and environmental factors impacting athlete mental health, and implement effective prevention strategies. Dr. Hamilton, since he has earned his PhD and clinical psychology license, he has been dedicated to his passion for sports psychology. Beginning his academic career in South Florida, he served as the Director of Research for the McNair Program and the Associate Dean of the College of Medicine at Florida International University. And then he founded Elite Sports Psychology in 2008. His work in Jamaica has garnered recognition from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport and the Jamaica Olympic Association. Dr. Hamilton has been an integral part of the sports medical team for various prestigious events, including the 2024 FIFA Copa and Nations League as part of the Reggae Boys medical team. In addition, Dr. Hamilton and members of the sports medical teams have been thanked by some of the world's elite athletes, including Shelley Ann Fraser-Price, Elaine Thompson-Hera, Sherika Jackson, Brianna Williams, Danielle Leva, five-time world champion and two-time Olympic medalist, four-time NBA champion and Olympic medalist Shaquille O'Neal, and others participating athletes in the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games, the 21 Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics, 22 Carthage Games, 22 Jamaica National Track and Field Trials. He's also been publicly recognized for helping the Harborview Football Club to win the Premier League Football Championship in 2007, 2010, and 2013 seasons, along with his high school alma mater, Jamaica College. Any JC people in here? No? No JC people? Ah, there we go. In winning 5 back-to-back national championships. In Miami, Dr. Hamilton specializes in the peak performance of athletes, entertainers, and other professionals in psychiatric or mental health issues. So, as I said, he snuck off from the Jamaica Sports Medicine Association presentation to come here to be with us, and we are truly appreciative. So I want you to put your hands together and welcome him, Dr. Scott Hamilton. And if you look at him, you'll notice he looks like his father, the late Howard Hamilton. So we welcome him.
Thank you, Gavin. All right, good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to first thank the people that were just presenting. That was an amazing presentation. I just got here a little late. When you get tested or banned, it can affect you mentally. I will make somebody whose grandfather is from Jamaica say something. Play the thing for me now. I don't really have a presentation right now because I just rushed over here, so just showing you a little thing. Volume.
Sports psychologist ever. Listen to him. Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant sports figure ever, and this is Dr. Hamilton, the most dominant sports psychologist ever. Listen to him. Knows what he's talking about. He helped me get
4 of them things. All right. So we help him get 4 of them rings. And my mother thinks that I'm mad because I go and pledge a fraternity from Howard University where you take hot iron and burn up yourself. So I'm an Omega. So you see me doing these things and barking like dog. But it's very important to me, very important fraternity, founded November the 17th, 1911 at Howard University. So for all my GSE friends, it burned them in them skin when them see me wearing purple. You can show the one of Udonis Haslam for me, please.
Yo, this the OG from the Miami Heat, Udonis Haslam, man, with Dr. Hamilton, man. Sports psychologist, man. Taking care of your mental health, man. Health is wealth, man. You know what time it is.
All right, UD, thank you. So, one of the things I wanted to say when I got up here was this. I've been in the parish of Miami for a little while, like a long time. And it's nice feeling that you guys don't really understand so much because you take it for granted. Majority of the people in here sound like you, look like you, and it's a nice, nice feeling. So I'm just happy to be back home. I'm always happy to take my oath seriously. That we did prep, in prep school, we owe it to Jamaica. Yeah, take it very serious. So, yeah, they said that I've been with many teams. When the West Indies won 2013, 2016, I was a sports psychologist. There were some cricketers on that team, not going to call a name, that couldn't play, not even bat up and catch. Once you are banned, you cannot play any cricket. Not till you are not banned. When you are not banned, then you can resume, as the presenter before said. It was an honor to be called up to the National Sports Medical Team with the legends, Bibi Gardner and Freddie Butler. We were there. If I had a video right now, I would have showed a video of Greg Lee scoring the goal and saying on ESPN and on Sportsmax that I was in Dr. Hamilton's office. I did an EMDR session, which is simply visualization or neurolinguistic programming. I just get the athlete to see themselves performing the way they want to perform. I do it with Jaleel Hyde, and him running personal best in the Commonwealth Games. I do it with a whole heap of athletes, Shaq and them. So, Greg scored the goal, and in the dying seconds, Pulisic get that corner. We get Corey had the one goal, so Corey wasn't doing so hot the next day. I spent the whole day with him, and he have some nice family people in Jamaica, so them call him and make sure I'm all right and everything good. So I have to spend the whole day sit down with Corey. So that's part of sports psychology. People stop phone me, man. Yep. So next picture. Next picture there, boss. All right, so the Q, Shaq is a Q as well. Next, yeah. I'm going to do that unless you're born up in. That's my father. First public defender for Jamaica, Howard Hamilton, QC. Also a JC man. And that's the legend you're seeing. That is up at JC. And he always tell me, yeah, doc, mental strength is important. He have it figured out. The limbic cortical region, too much medical stuff, but the limbic cortical region is that part of your brain that will make you the foolishness. You ever have a bad thought? My wife hates this example, so I'm not going to give that example. I'll give this example. Say you play football, and a man kick it down. And your brain say, no, if you just kick that you in him throat, because him disrespect me. If you get up and kick him in him throat, what you going to get? Red card. Exactly. You know how much people in jail because a man stand up on them clocks and them say, you know what you should do? You should stab him in him neck. Why? You act quickly on that. That's the area I specialize in. That part of the brain is what causes athletes difficulty. If you can manage that part of your brain, right? Because it's not easy to perform on the day you need to perform the way you need to perform. True? Right. And we, as Jamaican people, are specialists at living up and doing it on that. You think it's easy? When we do national trials and a young lady fall, she lead in the 110-meter hurdle, and she fall second to last hurdle. Nobody no business with her again, you know. Jamaica has become too caught up with first, second, and third. Right? Like we is America. America don't remember nothing named second, you know. If you came second in the Super Bowl last year, anybody know the name of the team that come second last year? Right. If I did this in America, it's the same way. They don't know. They only know who win, which is not a good thing. If you make the Jamaica Olympic team, don't that's a big deal. When you make the side, is a big deal. And we did some damage. And when I say we, all Jamaicans did some damage to our young people on social media. Show the picture of Japan. Legend. Show me a next picture now. All right, that's more. You see how me look tall like Shaq? I'm standing on 8 steps behind him, and him standing up on the floor. This is the Mandarin Hotel in Miami. Next picture. Yeah, CM Hotel. Next. Time them to have here. Go on. I'm trying to find a picture with the 4x100 gold medal team. All right. Whoever. 4x100 gold medal team. And remember, so some people never want to talk to one another going into that race. And we just start, have fun, and make joke about certain people panting. And then everybody just get lovely. And then we run the race and beat up people, national record on Independence Day. You remember? All right, power of the mind. This is a JADCO meeting, right? And I know in traveling with many of the teams that it's difficult for an athlete to be called on, to be tested at times that they feel is kind of inconvenient. The great Chris Gale, Crampy get tested all the time. Right? But I'm used to it. Big celebrity, him always. The thing is, from a clinical psychologist standpoint, it weighs on the mind. Everybody following me? Not easy. Sir, you can find a picture there for me? Big man. Oh, I come in. Thank you. All right. I have to go back over to the Jamaica Association of Sports Medicine. Gavin just called and asked me if I'm here in the island, if I could come and speak briefly. I appreciate you all allowing me the latitude to speak on this sports psychology and clinical sports psychology thing. It was pretty cool going to the IOC headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland last month and being the first Jamaican to get that PhD diplomat in the mental health treatment of elite athletes. So for a little youth who used to get trouble in school, I know Miss Cunningham at St. Richard's would be very impressed that he's here, so I reached. That's the reason I spend my time studying the limbic cortical region. I went to 4 prep schools in Kingston, and I went to 2 high schools. I went to JC, and then I had to leave and go to a school in the country. The school in the country was the most fun. So I'm going to do a big shout out to the Titchfield. When I went to Titchfield, there were girls at the school, and Chuma never want to look like no idiot in front of the girl. I started doing well. I'll get good grades in chemistry. Yeah, Mr. Fulston from England. Big up Mr. Fulston, great chemistry teacher. Only teacher in the history of Jamaica, I think, that he will teach chemistry O-level, and some people only pass chemistry. The one subject them pass is chemistry. So big shout out to Mr. Fulston from Titchfield. Titchfield was very important to my upbringing. And then I go work 2 years at Couples in Ochi, and then I go off to the University of Houston, where Akeem Elijah and Clyde Drexler and Carl Lewis were my classmates. All right, so I'm now rambling. I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you all for allowing me the time. Boss, you still can't find a picture of them? All right, no worries. Okay, so there's a picture of the 4 women that won the 4x100 gold medal at Tokyo. So again, to the presentation here, in the Tokyo Olympics, we had no incidents. Every morning, we had to be tested, the entire village, and Jamaica had no issues. So I would like to congratulate the Jamaica Sports Medical Team for the Tokyo Olympics. Very difficult Olympics, and they did a good job. All right, that's my time. Thank you. And God bless Jamaica.
Thank you. Thank you. Give it up once again, folks, for Dr. Scott Hamilton, Jason Scott Hamilton. Thank you. Well, we've come to the end of the workshop for today, the 11th staging. We trust you were encouraged, and we trust you were empowered. And we'll see you again in January for a symposium. We'll keep you posted on that event. Here's to wishing you a great Saturday. Please take it easy on the roads and be safe. Thank you once again. Do enjoy lunch. Thanks to the folks for tuning in. Appreciate it.